Hi, I'm Jenny Rosenkrantz with the University of Maryland Extension. And you know, a couple months ago, you saw a bunch of beautiful orchids growing in a greenhouse. And that greenhouse kept these tropical orchids in a wonderful environment. We saw orchids growing on bark, orchids growing on moss, orchids growing in pots, but the pots didn't have potting soil because they were very specific type of orchids that usually love to grow on trees, and they love the tropics. Well, we are obviously not in the tropics, we are in the woods right here, but we are also surrounded by some of nature's most spectacular and rare plants. This is the North American orchid. This is the lady slipper orchid, and this is absolutely a beautiful and very, very rare plant because it needs specific growing conditions. A lot of people say, oh, it's so beautiful, I want to dig it up and move it into my yard. Please never, never do that. First of all, they're never going to do well. What happens with the orchids is they have a very cool friendship or symbiotic relationship with a soil fungus. The fungus is a Rhizoctonia fungus, and what it does is it grows in the ground and it wraps itself around the roots of the orchids. And the roots of the orchids will go ahead and share nutrients for the fungus, and the fungus will pull in water and nutrients also. So what happens with the fungus is it's bringing water and nutrients, but the lady slipper is giving it the sugar that it creates with its leaves. So again, it's a very, very good friendship relationship with both of them. Another neat thing about the friendship between the orchid and the Rhizoctonia fungus is that when this particular flower makes seeds, the seeds don't have the endosperm in the seed coat. In other words, there's no peanut butter and jelly sandwich that this mama plant has given to the seed so it can go ahead and have some substance while it starts to germinate and the root goes down and it will have something to go ahead and grow. It doesn't have that. So what happens is that the fungus that's in the ground will creep through the ground until it finds the seeds, and it will actually go ahead and break open that seed coat because the seed coat's very hard, and it will establish right then its connection to the seed and the seedling, and it will go ahead and start bringing water and nutrients to that little seedling, giving it a chance to grow and become a full orchid. Now it takes a couple of years, it takes almost 12 years for that seedling to grow up until a mature, beautiful flower like this. The other neat thing about these guys is the slipper is very, very pretty, and it actually has a very sweet smell, which attracts the bees. Now the bees go into the flower this way, thinking that they're going to get some nectar because it smells so good. Well, they go in there and they realize there's nothing there. And then they realize they can't get out the same way they came in, so they have to go through a special part of the plant called the stamens, and that's where the pollen is. That's the male part of the plant. It has to go through there before it can get out of the pouch of the flower. Now the bees will go into maybe 3 or 4 of the lady slippers before they finally say, I've had it. There is absolutely nothing here for me. But in going through those 3 or 4, they will go ahead and pollinate those 3 or 4. So the seeds will go ahead and grow, which will be fabulous. So if you have lady slippers, enjoy them. You can go ahead and clear a little bit of the ground, but be very careful because these are delicate babies. Don't ever think to dig them up because they really have to stay in the ground where they are because of the Rhizoctonia fungus. Now there are some native plant nurseries that have really gotten a lot of really good reputations for growing nursery grown orchid plants, which is wonderful, and some of them are even doing it by tissue culture, so you can get them fairly reasonably. They used to be almost $50 to $100 each, and now they're more like $10 to $30. So you know, you can go ahead and find them on the internet, or you can do a search and see where you can find them. But these are just so beautiful to have. Now if you don't have a woodland area, don't even think about wasting your time and your money or even damaging the plants, because they need to have the woods. So thank you so much for joining me for this special edition of Delmarva Gardens right here on Pack 14.